Was there a point with a client, a student, a story that made you go, man, this is why I need to put this on paper? You know, this is that turning point of the decision. You know, basically, I gotta make this book because you've committed to it. You know, you've put down hours and hours of time and thought and looked within yourself and others for it. What made you really want to do this?
It was just kind of the reaction that I saw to guys, especially when the testimonials for my coaching was getting better and better. Just, I'd read those or just, see guys and their experiences from it. And then other guys would see those. Other guys would read those. And, well, hey, Nick, help me out with this. I started seeing just more of a demand. People just asking more for my thoughts on this and that.
So it sounds
and I was kind of like, I just felt like I had a responsibility. Like I've been given this life that's given me these experiences that are different than most people. My brain works like this for these things. And I've got all these people now like asking me for this, like saying they want my help with this. Like
it sounds almost like a sequence was a turning point of different little testimonial events that accumulated. Does that sound about right? That's what you're telling me. That's kind of how
it just became a point where it was a no-brainer. Like people would ask, Nick, why haven't you written the book yet? I'm like, I really need to do this.
Yep. Other speakers said this too. I think Sasha recently put a book out, and it was the same thing. Years people were like, "Hey, where's the book?" He's like, "What book?"
It's good motivation.
Totally.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. What else you got there, Mr. Johnson?
Here's a pretty basic question, but I think it'll go a long way towards helping people understand it. How more specifically can the book help them? The guys watching right now or in the future on YouTube and stuff. How can the book not just broadly and fundamentally help their life, but specifically, like what's going to change?
Sure. So to get a little more specific in what the book's about.
Yeah.
Like you said, there are these more general areas that we can talk on, talk about, focus our coaching on. Then every single guy's different, right? Every single guy has different mannerisms, different personality, different, and that's why, really getting in there and identifying specifically how is a guy maybe sabotaging himself in a different situation. Right. Sometimes you gotta be able to see that. And, we do it for as long as we can. We can just look at a guy and very easily see like what's going on. With the book, what I tried to do is for each of those areas, whether it comes to people trying to start new conversations or just holding a conversation and having it be a great one or becoming more sexual, I basically pulled out what are 5, 6 of the most common ways that a guy will sabotage himself in regards to those different areas. And then how can he, what are the actions he can take once he's identified that he's doing this to reverse that behavior. And once again, practicing it with everyone he comes into contact with. And then within those 5 or 6 per section, subsets, I'll have other little details in there to maybe allow a guy to catch himself if this is something that he is doing so whatever area it is that you're really suffering, and you're going to be able to look at, well, what are some ways that I might be sabotaging myself? Really try to give examples, give as many details, analogies as I can. And then the specific actions he can take to quote unquote cure that and immediately start having better interactions with people.
This sounds, from my experience as a young person with like the pickup scene and stuff, this sounds really useful. Because for myself and a lot of people I knew in the layers and stuff, they had one of their biggest problems was sabotaging themselves because they're motivated. The fact that they're learning about it means they're motivated to learn about it and to do things with it. And because of that, they're always doing way too much and they're always screwing themselves up. That was me too.
And it's almost like, it's different at first because it's almost a tough sell because so much of the industry, so much of the marketing is, we want to give you these tips and we want to give you this action-based step-by-step. And it doesn't help anyone in the long run. And so I had to make a book. And the main point of my book is just about getting out of your own way.
I love it.
It's just about getting out of your head. Because, when you're in your head thinking, big premise of mine throughout my 21 convention speeches, when you're in your head overthinking, that's when you sabotage yourself. So how do I create a book whose essential message is to stop trying? There's this dichotomy in this industry where people are like, well, yeah, you want to not be dependent on the outcome. You don't want to have an agenda, but then do all these things to try to get the specific outcome and have this agenda. So how do I write a book that stays true to that? Hey, get out of your head. Hey, just be present with somebody. You're most attractive when you're not trying to be attractive. Then how can I build content around that? How can I help to describe that as thoroughly as possible?
Yeah, actually, one of the things that I want to say to that I think everybody should look at towards what Nick is describing is he's talking about actual behavioral change with who you are. The reasons why one doesn't achieve success in any area is not because you haven't just gotten the result. I mean, the result is one moment. But for you to be that man that can achieve excellence, and dude, this is the thing, and this is what I've seen in your coaching. You help a guy with dating on a true principle base. It's not just some advertisement word. A true principle base. He'll get better in other areas of his life because he lives that man. And your book breaks that. That's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah. I mean, I talk about how this stuff affects your professional life quite a bit in the book as well. Yeah. I mean, if you're just the kind of person, your income is mostly dependent on how the people that are around you, how much they like you.
Yep.
I mean, that's just kind of study after study shows this. And so, yes, it's good to be good at your craft, and you shouldn't stop developing your talents, of course. But if you're working around any other people whatsoever, like the better you get along with them, that's huge for the quality of your life.
If you're totally uncalibrated, you just shoot yourself in the foot and you screw things up.
Absolutely.